All right, let's dive right in. Something is happening right now at the intersection of big tech, global politics, and national security. And honestly, it's a total game changer. The US government has cut a deal that's shaking up the entire rule book for the semiconductor industry. So today, we're going to break down exactly what this deal is, why it's so incredibly controversial, and what it could mean for, well, pretty much everyone.
This one sentence, right here, it really captures the seismic shift we're talking about. I mean, think about it. This isn't just another regulation or some new tax. For the first time, the US government is jumping off the sidelines and onto the field. They're going from being the referee to being an actual player with a financial stake in one of the most important industries on the planet.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the deal itself. What is this 15% thing? Then we'll get into the big conflict. Is this about security or is it about revenue? After that, we'll look at how the big chip makers are playing this new game, what China's doing in response, and finally, why all of this puts us in completely uncharted territory.
All right, first up, the 15% deal. At its core, this whole thing is what you'd call a quid pro quo. This for that. And believe me, it is an unprecedented one. And this is the magic number, the heart of the whole deal. 15%. Tech giants, we're talking NVIDIA, AMD, they have apparently agreed to give the US government 15% of all the money they make selling certain high-end AI chips to China. So what in the world is a quid pro quo tariff? Well, think of it like this. It's basically an unofficial tax to sell your stuff. The government says, hey, selling these powerful chips to China is a national security risk, so it's banned. But then they turn around and say, however, if you give us a 15% cut of your profits, we'll give you a special license to sell those exact same chips. It is literally a payment for permission to sell.
And look, this isn't just some rumor or speculation. President Trump himself confirmed how this all went down. His own words. He said, make it 15. We negotiate a little deal. It paints a picture not of careful foreign policy, but of a straight-up business negotiation.
So you can see how this deal immediately creates a huge amount of tension. That line, the one between protecting the country and just making money for the government, it has suddenly become very, very blurry.
And this brings us to the key question that everyone, from Wall Street analysts to DC insiders, is asking. What is the real goal here? Is it to stop China from getting its hands on advanced American technology, or is it to open up a brand new fire hose of cash for the government? Because it's getting really tough to see how it can be both at the same time.
Just look at the contradiction here. On one hand, the stated goal has always been national security. The idea was to put a hard stop, a total ban, on selling the most powerful chips to China to keep them from getting a military advantage. But the actual outcome of this new policy is that those very same chips, they're still being sold. There's just a 15% fee attached. It really makes you ask an uncomfortable question. If a major security risk can be wiped away with a check, how serious was that risk in the first place? So what about the companies caught in the middle of all this? How are they supposed to navigate these new rules? Because this isn't just a policy change. It's like someone completely reset the entire high-stakes chessboard for the chip industry.
Each of the big players is in a totally different spot here. For NVIDIA, China is a massive, critical market, so they seem willing to pay the 15% just to keep their access. Then you have AMD. China is also a huge market for them. We're talking $1.5 billion last year, and they've confirmed they got licenses, but they're being much more tight-lipped about the whole payment thing. And then there's Intel. They aren't directly part of this deal, but they're dealing with their own pressures from the White House, which just goes to show how complicated this whole situation is for everyone in the industry.
But, and this is a big but, this is not a one-sided negotiation. It's not like the US holds all the cards. China has its own powerful leverage at the bargaining table, and they are not afraid to use it.
China's leverage here is pretty significant. First, they have a tight grip on the export of rare earth metals. These are materials that are absolutely essential for making things in the US. As one analyst pointed out, China could basically paralyze American production lines just by turning off that tap. And at the exact same time, they're pouring money into developing their own powerful chips through companies like Huawei. So it's a two-pronged attack. Disrupt the US supply chain now while working to make it obsolete in the long run.
So all of this, it brings us to the really big picture. This isn't just about one deal for one industry. It's setting a precedent. and it's pushing the entire global tech landscape into completely uncharted territory. Yeah, from a legal standpoint, this whole arrangement is, let's just say, unorthodox. The U.S. Constitution is pretty clear. It explicitly forbids taxes on exports. Now, the government is carefully calling this a license fee, but let's be real. It looks and smells an awful lot like a tax. And that's raising some serious questions about whether this whole thing is even constitutional.
And this is that slippery slope that has so many experts worried. Okay, so today it's a 15% fee on AI chips. But what's stopping the government from applying this model to other advanced technology, like medical devices or specialized software? And if you can do it there, what's stopping it from spreading to other industries completely? Once you establish the idea that market access can be bought from the government, you've really opened a Pandora's box.
And that really is the consensus here. From the way it was negotiated in some backroom deal, to its shaky legal ground, to the massive unknown consequences, there's just no map for where we're headed. We are all in uncharted territory now.
So we want to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. This 15% deal has completely blurred the line between national security policy and a government revenue scheme in a way we have never seen before. And it forces us all to ask a really fundamental and pretty provocative question. If a national security red line can be moved for a 15% fee, what else is for sale?